Hey guys, it's Rick here. Look at this over my shoulder. Oh, over on this shoulder. Looks a little crazy, don't it? Looks like some kind of a skinny penis, kind of emaciated. Well, I apologize for that. I mean, I'm not apologizing for it. That's our brain, and this is an eyeball for the sixth chakra. And this looks like a little temperature gauge. Might want to say that's what it's like for the chakra system that we have going on up and down our backs. I want to get serious just for a moment, because I just learned this by working with the last bit of information with this Tower of Babel. All right. Because it's really basically telling us in that story, believe it or not, is that we have been left with just the left side of our brain. Even that just 10% of it, that idea that this is the part where our consciousness sits. Not on the right side, but on the left side. And that's no pseudoscience. They know this for sure. While the entire brain works to keep our body alive, the only part that we are consciously able to control, well, that's 10% of our body, and that's it. So, I've had to work with people who argue that, oh, this guy still thinks in the old way. Well, you guys, I'd rather go with the way things were taught to us in the past before I'll believe anything that comes out of someone's mouth today. I'm just telling you that. That's where my heart sets, is with older information. Okay, there's nothing like the polluted business of today's conversations and stuff like that. But anyways, I was also looking at this here because there's similar stories like this in Hinduism, where they call this idea, when you're coming out of the East, which is what they're doing, they're venturing out of the East. And when they come to a dark land, they come into a dark land. It's the lower mind, the West is actually dark. It's the black. It's where the sun sets. And this represents all of the physical parts, or red, or something in the Bible, like Cain, he had red hair. Esau, he had red hair. He's representing hair. But anyways, this is red. This is this idea of the lower mind. And red because of the emotional attachment to this. This is the north, or emotional side, that brings us to this point, because well, whether or not you want to follow God or not, this is where it works. It has to be with your heart. You have to, all of your mind and all of your heart and all of your soul and all of your strengths. So it's really asking to put you in it, the whole bit of you into the soup, and then bring the whole thing, get it all up there and bring it all to God, everything, every bit of it. And so that's where you get this idea of making yourself into some kind of an ark. But it's easier if you follow what Jesus is telling you. Just go into your room, into your closet, and shut the door. It's easier to say. The reason why we call it a closet is that they want you to pray. They do this in private. They're not wanting you to be like these people on the outside that want to be seen, want to be talked about, want to be heard. They said this is something we're not ashamed. It just takes that this is our thing. This is my connection with God. It's not anybody else's. It's mine alone. All right. Well, anyways, what I want, and that you don't have to be in any place. You don't have to be any place on earth. Anywhere the carcass lies, the eagle will come and find you, and that's what you want. All right. So, but anyways, but when they come into the land of Shinar, they're all coming down. They want to dwell there for a while. Well, when you dwell there for a while, that's, you're pretty much setting up home. All right, and all hell breaks loose, because remember, they're not allowed to be mixing up their wives with other tribes and other places of these other lands, and they break that law. Oh God, you bad guys, you're gonna stay over here forever now. And basically that's what it is, because none of those people are saved. All right, so what happens in this story is that we learn what it means to be this homogenesis guy. This homogenesis means that all we're stuck with is this logical, the mind of man, and it doesn't have any assistance to it whatsoever. And this is what God is. God is the helper. Jesus is the helper. Our child is the helper. These are things, and when we don't have it, when you've been cut off from this, and you don't have that's the right side and the kundalini. All of that business represents a female energy. Even if Jesus is the way, he's sharing this androgynous spot, because he ascends into hell and then he drags us back up again. He's our helper. But in the story, he says, I have to leave or else the helper won't come. So he has to, and he will send the helper to us. That's what he says. All right. So anyways, now what happens is that the lower mind in its earlier evolutions, which when we are children, as children, in our earlier evolutions, which could take several lifetimes and several different people in the place of, your soul being itself and traveling, doing its works through these different people as you grow on. The soul is the same, but the outside person is always different. And this is how you know that Dolores never really got any true information about going to heaven, because she was dealing with someone that was out. She was talking to a past soul of hers, or a past physical person or something like that, right? Basically, once you die, you're not talking to someone. She wasn't getting any information from anyone that had crossed over onto the other side. All she got was images of what it will look like. That's how we know that it's false, because there's only one way to get off this earth, and you don't have to die to get off here. You have to go through this process that we talk about. All right, so let's talk about it more. This penis thing behind me, I'm going to talk about it in just a second, okay? But bear with me what it is, okay? If you can't imagine it, all right? So what it is the lower mind gets a chance to just live and work on itself, and this is what it means. It says that it's to learn through individualization, egotism, and a sense of separatism. It's the first to conceive this wisdom. This is one of the ways they think that that it's written. It's one of the ways that wisdom can be reached. Now, what that's getting at is that this when he comes down, sees what men are making, and he said they were all of one language at this particular point in time. All right, so what he does is that one language means that they just came from this place. And look at these guys, he says, look at them making their own way, trying to create a way all by themselves. And so God sees this as a sense of separatism. And he says, so be it. I'll fix you guys right now. And he took away the right hemisphere conversation, took the wisdom way, took it out and let them on their own, where they have to learn through the brick instead of the stone. The stone's been removed, all right, by the maker. Remember, God made us. So the maker, and later on we find the stone put together. But they say that the maker, it's the stone that the maker rejects, or the builder, which is the maker, rejects. So if God made us, then he's taken this out of us. and put us on this earth, and then through our own knowledge and our own individualization and egotism, to be set up in a separate existence from God. Remember, God is not the same as Father, all right? It's mother and father. And so we find that this means that, we don't have to cut our hair, and we have a great old time with Dad, having a great, wonderful life together. But we have no knowledge at all about the female side, the part that's going to tell you the truth. And all this other time that you're running with Paul and all, you're working off of superstition and slime and stuff like that, instead of the true stuff and love. Everything is another representation of it, but not true love, not true anything. All right. So what we'll get is that in this lower part of evolution, which is what a lot of people are, no matter where we are in life, is that it's our soul is in a homogeneous condition, which means it's in that it's working off itself, it's feeding off itself, which means that it's not only mankind representing the left side of our brain, but it also is responsible for the religion. All right, those are those two things, and that religion actually comes to us through the moon and through our emotions. This is what causes us to have this. This is with the fallen children or the fallen angels. All right, when the sons of men, bore children through the daughters, sons of daughters or daughters of men. I always get those kind of mixed up, but the idea is, is that it's we fornicating with ourselves, and we create this business, and their children wind up devouring us. They're creating these giants, and so you'll see that what it is they create this religion. And that's the man side of text, this part that we see, that part that we recognize as the letter that kills. And this is what it means by, and they set out to devour the people. And that's what they do. They're meant to devour flesh. That's what the top of this is about, because that's representing religion. This is all birthed out of the left side of the brain, making this their way of gaining wisdom and knowledge. This is how they're doing it. And they use brick, which is, the idea of something man-made, like religion, in order to get closer to God, and that's just not how it's going to work. This is done on purpose so that God will have the heavy on you. They say, you motherfuckers, you've been mean mouthing me all this time, so oh my God, so who among you is willing to go and stand before the Lord? This is your judgment. Remember, the judgment is actually left up to the Son, not to the Father. The Father's not going to judge, no, because He's going to send somebody in and judge for you. And this is your helper. This is the helper. So anyway, everything is going to be coming from the left side of the mind, which is the black side. So it's the dark side. And they call that earth, this business of earth, and this side being heaven, is that the sun rises. Which way does it go? We have the sun set somewhere. Which is the sunrise on one side, and then the sun sets on the other. I'm not sure which way it goes. My dyslexia is not allowing me to know this right now. It's crazy. But I had a hard time trying to figure out which was the right side of this and the left side of this. And I'm still not all that sure, because, well, I am. I'm pretty sure that I got this right now. Okay. But anyhow, what happens? Brick and slime. That's meaning our spiritual knowledge is all going to be man-made or created. And this craft that they talk about is that things are gonna have you're gonna have to make stuff up. Things are gonna have to be created, and to fit that square peg into a round hole, they gotta do a whole lot of explaining. All right, a lot of explaining. But what this is the extinction of the personal, or the person himself, the personality. So what you're really trying to do is through individualism, but at the same time they're trying to, fit us all into a box. So these works are supposed to weed out one kind of group from another group. And some people, well, a lot of people that don't believe in God or never heard of it or anything like that, they are responsible for their own business. It's a shame that they didn't come and try. Now that I know better, I know that you've got to have a part of this religion. You got to play part of this, or you have to come back around and do it again. But you'll see that it's not meant for everybody, and they can go for a long time without having more people join the bunch. All right. I just want more friends to come and hang out with me, or lights up all over the world if it's possible. But you'll see that the left side is analytic, the right side is holistic. Those people that are Jews, those are the Jewish people that follow Judah, we pitch our tents to the right side. We pitch our tent. What does a tent look like? I guess a tent looks like this. I guess we can make it look like a teepee. But we pitch our tent to the right side of the boat. This is where we toss our nets over to the right side. And this is the idea that we're going to start feeding from the right side of our boat. But in reality, what it is that's the first catch. You want to get over there first. You want to bring it to this place. Because what happens is that this once the homogeneous thing has gotten its fill, which is why it has teeth. It's this idea that it just is gonna. It's really like this big roto-rooter that's out here just munching shit and garbage and this and garbage and more garbage and garbage and garbage. Remember, it's kind of making us out to be like some kind of a grave, and our mouths are open pits to this grave. And so whatever we put in here while we're working out of this side, it's all bad. It's like, ugh, where's the fruit at? But somehow or another, we're going to be rewarded for all of this chewing up and ugliness by doing things nice in the world to try to change things, to try to fix things, try to make Earth a prettier place for people to be in hell. That's been my job for a good long time, for my entire life. And so you would see that this is the rising sun. So the sun's going to rise over here, right? Is that how it is? And then it's going to set over onto this side. And all these stories are really about this struggle between the right side and the left side. But the honor and mother and father brings back this hetero place, this heterogeneous Genesis business. And so you look up those words and you'll see that they do have, the words do exist in our world, and they do show us how there are some similarities, and then there's some obvious advantages to a heterogenesis thinking pattern. There's a lot more involved when it comes down to having two heads instead of one, or having one brain instead of just a half of one. All right. So this is really what this is about, is that these guys, this is what the people used to do when they was in the big city where they came from the east. And this is how they paid God back by, look at them doing their own thing. And then so they go and they burn bricks and they build their city, And God sees this, just saw it as, separatism. These guys, they want to do it on their own. Let them do it. Let's give it to them. Sounds like a great idea. They'll learn much from this, you know. And so the separation begins, you know. And from that point on, it's us. It's up to us to try to find God. But if you keep following the bits, the religious side of things, you have to understand how Father represents Satan. And that Saturn, that information on Saturn, they want you to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Over and over. I want you to keep the same things over and over. I want you to celebrate the same stories over and over. I want your mothers and your fathers to have children, and they're going to do what you did over and over. And then we're going to get someplace else, and it's going to go over and over and over. That's energy of Saturn. Let's continue and keep things as they are. This is the representation of the donkey and this idea of no change and this stubbornness to change. You know, it's absolutely really beautiful and seamless symbolism about the human consciousness where the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. And so you'll have to understand that, my God, we are on to some beautiful treasures as we come through and pull the Bible apart piece by piece, understanding all or more about God than the Bible or any preacher has ever led you to believe ever before. And it's really just opening up our minds to mother and father, to a heterogenesis condition of the mind, which is otherwise known as Israel. All right? And that's a balance between the right and the left side. It's beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. So we learned in one of our other stories, and I'm going to shut this off, that we send a scapegoat towards the gate of this east, of this west, to the east. We send a one-horned goat towards this heaven, to this wall, and this wall is being blocked by a ram with two horns. And it jets to the left and it jets to the right and it jets towards the west. You know, it's guarding its spot there on the eastern side of our body, our mind. This is the block. This is the vow of separation. You will not come over on this other side. You will not drink wine. You will never, you know. But, you know, some poor guy or girl decided to sit down one day, clear her mind, and come to Jesus as a virgin mind. It's getting all these things sparked up together. Oh, well, I'll be damned. There comes this goat, the scapegoat, where its feet doesn't touch the ground, so you know it's in spirit now. And it charges with all its might towards that ram, butts him in the head and busts those two horns of his, and then it's gone. And then he tramples on top of it. Stomp, 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 stomp. Well, that opens up this gate into heaven. And it's the person that sends the scapegoat towards this gate that makes it over to the other side. It's the coolest shit on earth. All right, I love you guys. I hope you got something out of this. All right. That was a small lesson, but gave away a lot of information. All right, I'll check you later. I'd sure like to know if you're understanding all this.